Alright guys, let's get started. So today was a snow day, so school was canceled. Well, the buses were canceled. Freezing rain everywhere, so I was like, I'm gonna stay at home. But I've been having a bit of problem with my lab table. I just have too many tools and not enough places to put it. So we're gonna be making a shelf today. So we're gonna design this shit, we're gonna build this shit, and then we're gonna install this shit right over there. So instead of just taking up all the horizontal space on my desk, I'm just gonna try using up some of that vertical space. But I don't want to pay like 30-40 bucks for a shelf when it's literally just a couple pieces of wood. So we're gonna make that shit today in my basement, and we're gonna have to draw out some blueprints. So when we start designing the shelf, we're gonna draw this shit out on the fucking whiteboard. Whoa, I'm such a professional now. Jesus Christ. But the problem is that the marker it comes with is super thin and kind of shitty, and the eraser doesn't work very well. Or like the whiteboard eraser, I don't know, whatever it's called. So I'm gonna have to make a quick trip to Staples, and I'm gonna have to pick up like one of those eraser, marker, and like whiteboard cleaner sets that have a little spray with it. So yeah, why don't we just do a quick little transition? Guess who's back from their little shopping trip? Wait, Shamir, did you have to leave the camera running the whole time, or did you turn it on, walk out of frame, and then walk back? I'll let you take a guess. So what do I have in my little baggie over here? So of course I need a little bit of coffee, because, you know, how am I gonna get all charged up for the day? Was not originally planning on buying this, but I stopped by the hobby shop and they had a bunch of Gundams, so I thought, hey, you know what? I need another one for the fucking collection. So, video about building this one, I guess, will come out whenever I decide to get around to it. And finally, what I actually went outside to go and buy in the first place, the dry eraser marker set. So yeah, why don't we just start brainstorming? So overall, I would say that I want the shelf to be about a meter tall. I need to have multiple layers on it because I just want to be able to kind of expand and just have all my stuff just concentrated into one spot, because that way it just gives me so much more room to be able to use the rest of the desk for other things, especially since I use it for all my like VR simulator games. So I need to have a lot of free space open so I can take my driving wheel and my flight simulator sticks on and off quickly. I also wanted to be able to just have all my power outlets and everything just hot glued to the side of it or whatever. That way I can be able to just that way I'll be able to just clear up like a quarter of my desk, and since I'll have them hot glued to the side, it'll just make it the access to the ports actually a lot easier, since I'm going to be able to just like plug it in, plug it out just right from the side of the shelf. So yeah, I'm just gonna draw up a quick blueprint, and we're gonna see how that design looks. Another thing that I'm not sure whether I'm going to do or not is if I'm going to actually secure the entirety of the shelf to the desk. The thing is, my lab desk is just covered in like chemical stains, holes that have accidentally been drilled into it, just lots of dirt, debris, wood dust, so it's not something that I'm going to be reselling anytime soon. So I personally don't mind just modifying it like that permanently, especially if it'll actually get me more use out of the table. So yeah. So now essentially I've got like a rough idea of what I want to do. So far I think I'm just going to have 3 layers of the shelf. I probably will add more in the future, but for the first layer I'm just going to need space to put all of the little bins I've created to organize my desk so far. And then from there on the top shelf, or like on the next shelf, I'm gonna have my hot air soldering iron, my soldering iron, then my vinegar / water spray bottle, And then on the third one, I'm going to have the hole puncher and electric sharpener. And then on the right side of the shelf, I'm going to have the power outlet hot glued, all the battery chargers for my camera hot glued, and then I don't know what else this is supposed to be, but just like the rest of the power outlet stuff that's over there. I'll figure out a way to arrange it once I've actually started building. But so far, I would say that this is kind of like the rough outline of what I want to do with the shelf. So yeah, why don't I go find some materials, and then from there I can just kind of start estimating what the dimensions of everything should be. Alright, so I went and got some materials. I have the fucking power tool that I'm going to use to cut this shit out. Let's hope I don't cut off a finger, but if I do, then hey, at least we have it on camera. And then like, I have this huge thing and then just another one on the ground just like it. So this is pretty long, you know, I think it'll be a decent amount of material to work with. I also needed to build, I don't know what the things are called, where you put like, it's what allows you to just put wood on and then you can cut it with like the handsaw, just so you can like kind of hold it in place. But I don't have any of those, so I'm probably gonna just have to use the table today. But hopefully in the next video, you know, if this shelf goes fine, then I can go on to developing those, which will really help me in whatever wood crafting I need to do in the future. So the actual width of the plank isn't all that much, so I'm probably going to have to like double it up just so I have enough like room to actually put the bins in and be able to put stuff on it. So that's going to be a little trickier than what I was expecting, but I think I should be able to get that done. I guess it'll just take a bit more time. So I'm going to go start measuring things around my room, and I'm going to come back with dimensions. So despite this being my laboratory, I can't seem to find where I put the tape measure, so I'm just going to run around and try to find that real quick. So the wood certainly isn't as flat as I would like. It's a little twisty, but for my purposes, honestly, I think this should be fine. Bit of a shame though. So essentially what the plan is that the actual bottom shelves are going to be about, I would say, 60 centimeters long, and then because they're about 13.5 centimeters wide, I'm going to have to double them up and then have the two planks coming up the side. So it's going to be actually a bigger shelf than I first expected, but that's actually fine. So yeah, I guess I might as well just start cutting these two like bottom boards. That way I can get a bit more comfortable with like the actual power tool and figure out how the best way to go about this is. Come on, exposure. Fix yourself up. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I'm gonna take off the smart glasses now and put on the safety glasses, cause don't want to lose an eye, right? So I guess I'm gonna need 1, 2. Am I really gonna make 3 layers of this shit? Like, I don't even think I have enough wood for that. Jeez. I guess what I'll do is probably at least get the first 2 layers, because I'm not even sure what I'm gonna put on the third one. That way, like, the shelf can just become really modular and I can just keep building it from there. So yeah, let's keep going. Good God, that shit is loud. My ears are fucking ringing. Yeah, I really should have worn some ear protection. I'm just gonna put on like my fucking gaming headphones and hope they block out enough of the sound. That's a bit better. I got a huge fucking splinter in my thumb. I don't know if you can see that, but good God, that thing is big. Let's pull her out. Oof. Anyway, yeah, measure twice, cut once. That's the rule, baby, and that's why these two are exactly the same length. So yeah, that's great. I can continue moving on. So possible little change of plans. I was thinking that since there's gonna be two planks that actually summon the base of every like shelf layer, to actually align them and to keep them in check, what if instead of putting 2 planks on both sides, right, and then having some way to conjoin the two, why don't I just make it so the planks are kind of in between every layer, therefore making the shelf kind of like not perfectly rectangular or anything, but that way it'll just overall make it make it simpler for me to make it stable, and I'll also have to use less materials. So yeah, I'm gonna try that out because I don't really want to go into my garage and use another plank on this shelf because I can always just take it apart and keep building on it, because I mean this is just scrap wood anyways. Yeah, perfect. So I guess the next step essentially is to just sand off all the burrs at the end of these, because it doesn't seem like it just cut all that smoothly. So when I do that, I'll get less splinters dealing with my shelf in the future. So yeah, just sanding down this first plank, it already feels really good. Just to the touch. Just like smooth wood, you know? And I think I only used like 60 grit, like nothing even all that smooth. But since these are just like scrap wood planks, you know, anything improves it, so.
Let me hit that.
Really?
I can handle it.
I am certain that you cannot.
Oh, come on, I smoked a ton of weed in the 90s.
Right, the 90s.
So essentially I did a bit of Googling, and it turns out that you can actually run more than one like extension outlet into each other as long as they're just not under load all the time. And if they are under load all the time, you don't want to be using more than 80% of the rated amperage through the circuit. And most of the electrical devices I'm going to be using will go through this first one, and I only want to have the second one plugged in, glued up here, so I can have what's they called a hardware switch for whenever I'm using my power tools, which will be all plugged into this. Which will, in the case of an emergency, where let's just say something goes wrong and like my life is in danger, or someone's in my laboratory and their life is in danger, you know, it gives me the ability to just hit the big red button and make everything stop. So yeah, and for like the 2-3 extra outlets that I will need, because like a lot of shit runs off this side of my room, I'll have this second one, but the total amount of watts that are running through the second power supply aren't really, or power extension aren't really all that much, because it's mostly just like, I don't know, the lights running like my Kinect, powering like my USB 3 hub, like it's just simple stuff that barely takes up any electricity. At least compared to like a Dremel or a power tool, or you know, something like that. So I'm relatively confident in the safety of this, but I mean, it's no different than what I was doing before. The only difference is now it's going to be hot glued to a piece of wood, and it's going to be sideways. Yeah, I think the way that I'm going to organize this is by first putting down my hub for all my USB connectors. And this is what I use for charging all my USB devices, because like I have like multiple phones that like I use just as spare cameras and whatnot, because like who uses like an old S5 that's like, in technology terms, that's from like 100 years ago essentially. So this is what I use to charge all my devices, and also it plugs into all my battery chargers for both my GoPro and for my like Canon T6i, which I'm shooting this video on right now. So those two I want to have just on the bottom like this here, and then these two glued up here, which gives me pretty easy access to them, and that way all these wires won't be overhanging all the power circuits, which just A, looks messy, and B, I just feel like it just ends up becoming a tangled mess, and it just gives a higher chance of something going wrong. So yeah, I want to be a little careful with that. And then once those are over here, then this yellow one will go, and then from the yellow one I'm going to take these two and glue the wires to the side just so it looks cleaner, and then put both of them beside each other up here. Yeah, like something like this. So yeah, why don't I get started? So I think I'm done now. I'm pretty tired. Takes a bit of energy to, you know, rewire your whole laboratory. Ignore all this shit over here. I'll get to cleaning it eventually the next time I'm doing a project. But yeah, I put all my simulator stuff to just see how it would map out and everything. But yeah, since I have this whole, like, I would say about 2/3 of the desk free now, and once I have this section just cleaned off, I'll have, I would say, 80% of the desk. Yeah. So I really like how I set this up vertically. I know it looks like really messy, but hey, it actually is quite functional. This serving as like the main power brick, and then this being the one for the lights and the fan. So kind of more like the auxiliary, like YouTube stuff. And then this one for all like the power tools and everything. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to smash that like button, and this time delicately kiss the subscribe button, and I guess I'll see you next time.